We've left Cambodia and we arrived in Nom Mein airport in Thailand. We proceeded to the Nom Mein railway station. Here we purchased some tickets to get to Ayutthaya, and I asked for standard, which apparently means you stand up in the train, so beware of that. You're in a seat, you got to get a seated ticket. Now we've arrived here at the Ayutthaya railway station, which was quite a nice little spot, and we're just trying to work out how to get to our motel. I ended up using a grab up after we went and had a cup of coffee and that, and they took us to a motel. It was no big deal. Next morning we went to see the Ayutthaya, ancient capital of Thailand. An interesting park. Again, the temperature was something to be unbelievable, so it was a pretty slow process getting around. Luckily, you could actually get free umbrellas at each of the attractions, so you could shade yourself from the sun, which was quite good. I can't remember how much we paid to actually go into this, but it wasn't that much. So we spent the entire day going from one to the other, and I've labelled them as best as I can remember as to which ones we saw. Ayutthaya itself is a nice little town. Don't think there's much outside of the ancient capital to see, but I guess if you were going to come here, I think we spent just the 2 nights and saw all of the ancient capital, and then we caught the train again and went from here down to Bangkok. The train was convenient, very cheap, and timetables was quite available online, so we were able to work out when we needed to be there, and it all worked out pretty fine. Our accommodation, I don't remember the name of it now, was straight across the road from this first area, so it was very convenient for us just to walk across the road and go into the ancient capital park. Now, an interesting thing here was up in the main tower was actually the tomb of one of the kings, and although we couldn't go down into the lower tomb area, there was a display there of the artifacts that they'd recovered from inside that, and there was quite a lot of gold artifacts, etc. There were pictures and that, and they were now housed, I think, in the Thailand museum if you'd wanted to go there to see them. This is quite a big park, quite a lot of walking, but it's quite doable. It's just pretty hot, so you have to be prepared for that. The interesting thing I found was that most of the buildings are made from the red brick, and here the red brick had been mortared over to give it a smooth finish. Now this sort of reminded me of my Sun Sanctuary in Vietnam, where all of that was basically red brick too. Whether there's a relationship, I'm not sure, but it was a similar building technique, whereas Cambodia was all solid stone and the carvings are all done into that. There was no bricks, so different century, different people. I'd have to do a little bit more study on that, but they were totally different, which made it pretty interesting. And I think this was between somewhere close to the 13th century that the capital was built, and if I remember rightly, it was the Siamese who invaded Thailand and destroyed most of the city, and then the Thais moved their capital down to what today is Bangkok. Long day, very interesting, but that sort of was about the limit of our temples on this vacation. We get to see more modern ones when we get into Bangkok and other sites around there. But if that's something you're interested in, I highly recommend going to Ayutthaya. It's not hard to do from the Don Mueang airport to jump on the train and be up there within the one day. We had no problems at all, just sorting out the timetable so we knew when we had to be there. The train station was a bit different. We weren't absolutely sure where we were meant to be in the train station, but we asked a few people and eventually we found out where we were supposed to wait and who was in charge of telling us when the train arrives, because you don't actually sit down at the train station itself, you sit up in their level above and wait until you're allowed to go down to board your train. I hope you've enjoyed just a quick view of what the ancient capital is, and if you could please subscribe, that'd be even better. Thank you for watching the video.